2. Marilla is surprised. Matthew left the office and looked for the girl. She was still sitting on the platform. Matthew was usually shy with strangers, but he walked right over to the girl. She looked up at Matthew with pretty green eyes. She had 2 thick braids of red hair and lots of freckles on her face. The girl stuck out her hand toward Matthew. "You must be Mr. Matthew Cuthbert from Green Gables," she said. Matthew knew right away that there had been a terrible mix-up. This girl with long hair was supposed to be a boy with short hair, but all that Matthew said to her was, "Can I carry your bag?" The girl smiled and said, "Oh, I can carry it. It isn't heavy. Everything that I own in the world is in this bag, but it isn't heavy." Matthew said nothing. He was thinking about what Marilla would say when she saw this girl. "I know your name, Mr. Cuthbert, but you don't know mine," said the girl. "Will you please call me Cordelia?" she asked. "Cordelia," said Matthew. "Is that your name?" "No," said the girl, "but I would love to be called Cordelia. It's such a beautiful name." Matthew smiled. "Well, if Cordelia isn't your name, what is your name?" he asked her. "Mr. Cuthbert," said the girl. "There are some things about myself that I don't like. I hate my red hair. I don't like these freckles all over my face, and I don't like my name," she said. "But if you must know, my real name is Anne Shirley. And if you call me Anne, please call me Anne spelled with an E at the end." "What difference does it make if it's spelled with an E at the end?" asked Matthew. "Oh, Mr. Cuthbert," cried the girl, "just plain A-N-N looks awful, but A-N-N-E looks much more important." "All right, Anne, with an E," said Matthew. "We'd better get going home." "Going home?" cried Anne. "Going to my new home. I can't wait to see it, Mr. Cuthbert, and I can't wait to meet your sister, Miss Cuthbert." Anne looked up at Matthew and said, "I liked you right away, Mr. Cuthbert. I saw you drive up in your wagon, and I said to myself, that just has to be Mr. Cuthbert." Matthew smiled. He liked this girl as much as she seemed to like him, but he didn't know how to say it. There was happiness in Matthew's heart, but there was worry in his head. He knew that there was a reason why his sister Marilla wanted a boy. He knew that she would be angry about the mistake. Marilla was a good woman, but she hated mistakes. She especially hated big mistakes, and Marilla would think that Anne Shirley was a big mistake. While Matthew was thinking these thoughts, Anne was talking. She was talking and laughing and almost crying with happiness. She could not stop talking about the beautiful trees and ponds and hills. Anne asked Matthew about the name of every place that they passed. Then Anne would make up a new name for it, and the name would make Matthew smile. "Does that pond over there have a name?" Anne asked. "Yes," said Matthew. "That's Barry's Pond." "Oh, I don't like that name at all," Anne said. "I shall call it the Lake of Shining Water." Anne sat closer to Matthew. Here was the man who would be like a father, and soon she would meet the woman who would be like a mother. Anne would have a real home at last. Green Gables would be her home forever. When the wagon drove up to Green Gables, Marilla was standing in the doorway. Her hands were on her hips. She yelled, "Matthew Cuthbert, who is that with you? Where is the boy? There must have been a boy. Anne Shirley looked at Marilla. Then she looked at Matthew. She grabbed his arm and burst into tears. You don't want me, she cried.